Hello and welcome to Author Talk. Today we are joined by none other than Ray Bush, a fellow self-published author. First of all, guys, thank you so much for joining us here.
Oh, no, thank you. I'm glad to be here. I really appreciate it.
So you're a fellow self-published author. That's a big thing to start doing. How long ago did you start writing?
I've been writing for like most of us, you dabble in it most of your life. But seriously, writing has been about the last like 3 years
Oh,
where I've
okay.
been where I've been putting in the work and actually making sure everything gets done. And
Yeah, there's a lot, isn't there, when it comes to self-publishing? So there's so much to it. But you do horror and fantasy, is that right?
I do, yeah,
How
yeah.
did you
That's
get into that genre? What drew you to horror?
I think the horror was I actually have three older brothers that like to scare the hell out of me a lot of times. And so now that I'm older and not really scared of anything, it's kind of like craving that feeling.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I mean, writing within the horror genre, I mean, you can almost do anything you want. I mean, there's a lot of freedom there, isn't there?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. As long as you got the imagination for it. Or I guess maybe the crazy.
I'm sure that helps too, eh? So what do you draw your inspiration from?
Um, just everything around me. I get ideas from coworkers, but my main inspiration was the Dark Tower series by Stephen King.
Oh, okay. I've heard of it. I've never actually sat down and because that's a huge. There's a lot of books there in the Dark Tower.
Yeah, there's seven of them, and I think a couple of them are over 1,000 pages. So
They are huge books. Yeah, you're a brave man if you've tackled those.
yeah, I'm an audio guy, so I just
Oh,
listen
okay.
to
So you
them.
enjoy your audiobooks?
I do, yeah. I prefer audiobooks. It's when you're working, it's easier to just put in a headphone and listen to some stories.
Yeah, you see, I do myself, which is interesting because I found that within the writing community, there are a group of readers and bookish people that say that audiobooks don't count as real books. So, what do you have to say to those?
I've heard that a lot too. I guess it's not technically reading, but I'm still getting the information, so it's all right.
I totally agree. And personally, I'm a big fan of Audible. So, I'm right there with you. Um, is there any books or movies that have kind of inspired any of your books? Anything that you'd recommend to potential readers? Or anything perhaps
Um,
that you found yourself helpful for actually writing that genre? Because I'd imagine there'd be a few writers, young writers looking through this work that we're doing today.
yeah, for sure. I just mostly like Stephen King was a big influence for me. Dean Koontz, their writing style. It's just the way they do it. It's very impressive. Um, so I kind of draw off of trying to not mimic anybody's style, but more uh, take notes from the way they do it and
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Play
try to
homage
go from
almost
there.
to them.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah.
couple times in my stories that Stephen King gets mentioned. So
Well, he is, I guess, if you're talking about horror, he is like the one to look at. But I mean, that guy can write. Are you anywhere near as prolific writer as Stephen King? Because he puts a ridiculous amount of words on a page a day.
yeah, I wouldn't say quite that much, but in a week, say I'll write a like 3 to 3,500 word story, sometimes 4,000. I'll
Okay.
write that. I'll write it in a week, edit it, then record it, and then edit the recording, and then add the sound and everything. And that's a weekly thing for me.
Oh, okay, that's cool. That's cool. So your latest book, though, that is a collaboration, if I'm right, between yourself and three other authors.
That was the first one, yeah. That's called Tales from Deranged Minds. It's myself, Emiliano Trulio, Christina Resnover, and then Dr. Stuart Knott.
Okay. How did
He's
you guys come
actually,
together?
I just kind of reached out to everybody. Actually, first Emiliano reached out to me, asked if I would read one of his stories on my channel. Was happy to do it. Emiliano's a good dude. And then Christina, she's been a big supporter of mine on Instagram. And the first Tales from Deranged Minds, that was her first shot at horror. I just kind of
Okay.
reached out. I reached out to her and asked if she wanted to give it a shot. And the same with Stuart. I just kind of reached out to him. I saw he was up for some awards from an Instagram page,
Okay.
and so I tried to see if he'd give it a shot, and everything worked out.
So
The book,
Instagram's kind of the nucleus here, eh? After all, it's what drew us two together as well.
yeah, yep. Instagram's. I'm on most social media, but Instagram's the one for me.
So if you
If,
had
if,
to recommend a social media to, because I mean, these days, when it comes to self-publish, you have to be online to make anything work. Would you recommend Instagram to new writers?
for me, it's the best. I don't. I'm on Facebook, TikTok. It just started on Twitter or X or whatever you call it,
Yeah, yeah.
but Instagram's been the most helpful for me.
And working again, looping back around to your book, working with so many different authors, because I mean, you're working with four different authors there. Was it hard to publish that book? Was it relatively easy? Did you all just kind of slot in together? Did you bounce off each other, or?
We kind of just did our own thing. It's just I didn't. I kind of put it together, and I didn't want to limit anybody. So I just kind of said, write whatever you want,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh,
and just
okay.
put it all
That's really
together.
interesting. I did notice that your book's available on Amazon, and I was just having a little look-see at it then. It's actually available in hardback, paperback, and Kindle book. How did you go about actually, getting your cover done and formatting? Did you do all of that yourself, or did you get any outside help?
For the Tales from Deranged Minds, the both of those, my wife did the covers for both of those, and
That
then
is handy.
yeah, I've got lucky with the right people around me to.
Yeah.
But my A Book of Lost Souls, the one that's just myself, I went through a publisher. I paid a publisher because I wanted to be able to have it through like Barnes and Noble.
Yeah.
And I, from everything I've heard, you're not able to do that on Amazon because you don't get an ISBN number.
That's correct. Yeah, you can of course buy an ISBN and attach it to your book and then do it manually yourself, but there's a lot more work there to do that.
Yeah,
See,
yeah.
I
So
really
I
like that because you wasn't exactly sure on how to do something, and you just went out and got that outside help to make sure that you got the job done correctly. So I think that's something that should be reiterated to anyone looking to make their own book, that if there is a segment of it that you don't know, there's definitely help out there.
oh, for sure. Yeah, I've gotten a lot of help. The big help for me has been the I'm not sure. I think his name's Dave, but
Okay.
it's the Barnes and Noble in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
I picked that guy's brain a lot, and he's given me quite a bit of help.
That's good. I feel like that there are so many people out there that are willing to give their time just to give you information that they've got. There's no gatekeeping within the writing community, which I think is absolutely brilliant.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, there's so many helpful people.
And are you working on anything at the moment? You got any stories cooking up or any big books either this year, next year?
We're actually putting out another Tales from Deranged Minds. It's going to be a series,
Okay.
uh, but that one should be coming out at the end of June, start of July. And that one's also a collaboration. I think we got ten authors this time.
Wow. That's
It's
that's
getting a little
cool.
bit bigger. And they're starting to the first one. It wasn't themed. We released it on Halloween, but there was no theme.
Hmm.
And then the second one, we did it on Valentine's Day, so it's kind of a we call it the Dark Love Edition, just
Okay.
kind of dark romance stories. And then this one is going to be campfire stories. So we're gonna everybody's writing kind of an outdoor story, maybe cryptid stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. Are you guys planning to release every few months, every year? What's the looking forward?
Every few months, there's there's three that have been there the whole time. Myself, Emiliano, and Christina. And then, so the first one there was Stuart in there. The second one we had three other authors, and then a poet. His name's Neil Stevens. So in the second one, between each story, there's a poem written by that guy, by Neil.
That's
And
cool.
then
I like the idea.
we're gonna start doing that. Between each story, there'll be a poem, kind of just a different type of story mixed in there.
Yeah.
It did really well the first time.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. And can we expect to find that on Amazon when it comes out?
Yeah, this one will be on Amazon. All the collaborations will be on Amazon, and
Okay,
then
brilliant.
the books that I publish myself with just my stories will be through the other publishers, Barnes, and so I can be in Barnes and Noble without much hassle and all that.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. So again, we've mentioned self-published, you're a self-published author, I am myself. What is the trickiest thing about being a self-published author? What is there anything that is still hard for you today or
The so far the formatting for the books
formatting?
on Amazon, yeah, that
That's really interesting. Episode 2 of Author Talk, we have an author on there talking about how she just absolutely just detests formatting whatsoever.
yeah, it was the formatting in those books is a little troublesome, but the stories are still good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm figuring that out.
I get that. It does seem to be the biggest hang up with authors at the moment. You know, yourself, Jennifer as well. And I'm actually helping a young author now currently. He's written a book, but he has no idea when it comes to formatting whatsoever. So that's interesting that that seems to be something that keeps popping up.
Yeah, it's hard for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What was the last book that you actually read?
That I read.
Yeah.
Um, the last one was book five of. I've just finished the Dean Koontz Frankenstein series.
Okay.
I don't know if you read it. That's really good.
Is it? No, I haven't heard of it myself. I was the last books I was reading was the Murderbot series, Murderbot Diaries, um, horror sci-fi, I guess.
Oh, nice. What
Yeah.
I'm trying to do though is I'm trying to get into more indie authors
Okay.
than more of the mainstream. I just bought Emiliano's book. Um, there's another author, Carol, that I did an interview on her channel too. I ordered some of her books, so I'm trying to get more into the independent authors instead of
And what
feeding
draws
us.
you more to the independent than the mainstream?
It's kind of I kind of look at it as we need more help than say everybody's going to buy Stephen King's book. So
Yeah, that's
that's just
true.
a given. Not everybody's going to buy the Carol's book, your book, my book. So we need a lot more help than they do. So that's kind of where
I
I'm
get it.
going with
I
it.
feel that with indie authors as well, like there's no there's no uniform with those books. You don't necessarily ever know what you're actually going to get in those books. You know what I mean? So I think there's a bit more of realism within them.
I oh yeah, I agree for sure. And yes, like you're saying, Stephen King, you kind of know what you're getting. Dean Koontz, same thing.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, these guys that nobody knows of, they're then there's some talent out there too. There's some really
There
talented.
is, there is. I think something that authors need. more than anything is patience, and that ability to stay with it as well. Because as you said, there's so many talented authors out there, but they're either try to release a book and then stop halfway through, or they're kind of be done and the book's kind of just forgotten about. So making sure that they keep up with that, keep pushing it out is so important.
Yeah, for sure. That's my big thing is I try to get my name out there. I usually create a couple of shorts a day, just trying to get anybody to see it. And it has worked a little bit. Uh, Obviously, like you said, not as fast as I'd like, but it does take a lot of patience. But
I
you
mean,
just
to be
gotta,
fair though, you're still very early on in your author journey. You said you've been writing for about 3 years now, so I mean, it absolutely does take time. I guess I'm probably on the same line as you. I've been writing for, or releasing at least, for the last 3 years or so. um Trying to create a digital footprint can be difficult and keep up with the pace of that as well.
yeah, you definitely got to stay on top of it.
What's your
Like
biggest piece of advice for that part? Because marketing your books, I actually think that marketing for me is the thing that I find hardest as a self-published author.
it definitely is a huge challenge. Most what I do is just try to keep relevant, just keep putting things out there, and a lot of times you're not gonna like if you make a reel, a lot of time or post a story. A lot of times you're only gonna get maybe, and if you're starting out six, seven, then you get up to 10. You just got to keep. Somebody's gonna notice eventually. Just keep at it.
Yeah, I think you're right, because I mean I've done a gaming YouTube as well. um And I know that sometimes it's not about publishing for today. It's about getting it published. And in that one video or clip or information, that can then go down the line and become successful. So just because you release a video today or a short or whatever it is, and you get no interaction, that's the thing about the internet, is that it's there for life.
Yeah, for sure. That's one thing I prefer about the audio stories. Also, is I was on YouTube, but I'm not anymore. I've started going to Rumble and Patreon.
Okay.
YouTube
Yeah.
actually picked me up a couple times, so
Oh, really? Oh, that's a
yeah.
shame. Yeah, YouTube can be a hard nut to crack. Is what it is with that sometimes. But I do see your shorts on TikTok quite often. So are they your own stories that you write every single week? Because you've got a lot of stories on there.
Yep, every week. That's I put out my own my channels, my audio stories. Those are all mine. I write them every week.
Yeah. How do
Right
you
now, we're
keep
just
those stories just churning out so much?
honestly, I don't know. They're just I got a lot of words rolling around in my brain. Apparently, it's just
Yeah.
kind of I just start writing and it's kind of there. It's,
So with that, is audiobook something you'd like to get into, as in perhaps having a collection of all your short stories up on Audible sometime?
we are actually working on that. Is getting the a book of lost souls on Audible.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right. I have all the audio. Now it's just putting it all together in one
Oh,
file. So
no, that's
getting
a
then
totally different set of formatting, isn't it?
yeah. And
Oh,
then
good luck to that.
at my stories, it'll say part one, part two. So just getting all that edited out for Audible also. It's coming soon, but it's just a pain in the butt a little bit.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. I myself would love to launch into, audiobooks, recording my own audiobooks and stuff like that. But there's so much to it. It's definitely a headache in places.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
So my next question was going to be, are you a gardener or an architect when it comes to writing? But it must, like, I wouldn't even know where to begin, as you're doing a short story almost every single week.
Yeah, a lot of it is I'm continuing stories, but my stories they're all it's kind of like a just one long story, but with told with all these short stories. These
Okay.
are kind of I'm working my way into a long series, and this is kind of the backstory for the characters that my stories are kind of the backstories for the characters that will be in the series.
Yeah. So is a lot of this already planned out, or are you literally just thinking of it up as you're writing?
A little of both. I mostly try not to plot out too much.
Hmm.
I know a lot of authors do that, and it's helpful for a lot of people. But I kind of just have to sit down and write and just kind of see where it goes. Um, I I'm not I can't format it.
I
If I
feel
have
like
it.
if you plan too much, you kind of lose that creativity, that creative spark that brings your work to life. Do you agree with that?
Oh yeah, for sure. At least for me, I know there's authors that have to do it other ways, and you got to do what's best for you. But for me, yeah, it blocks my creativity. I feel like, or at
Yeah,
least
yeah.
limits it.
Absolutely agree with you. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Ray. I really appreciate your time.
Oh no, I appreciate it. I'm glad to be here. Anytime you want to talk, just let me know.
So for anyone watching this video today or tomorrow, where can they expect to find you, find your work and find your future stuff?
So my Patreon and Rumble are both the same. It's Lost Souls, LOSTSOULZ, 801. That's the area code for Utah. So it's Lost Souls 801. And then all of my books are available on Amazon. The Tales from Deranged Minds series. There's two of those out there. And then
Look
Ray
forward to
Book.
seeing all the rest coming out soon as well. I was quite surprised you're saying you guys are releasing like every few months. That's going to be really exciting to follow.
It is, and that like I couldn't do it alone. I got to have these for this. I got to have those other authors with me.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, of course.
putting out good work like they've been doing all of them so far. So
Real quick, do you guys have like a hub? Do you guys like have a group page or something where potential readers can interact with all of you at the same time, or is it a case of you're all just separate at the moment?
we're all separate at the moment, but that's a good idea. I'm gonna look into that.
Definitely do that. Okie dokie. Well, I will see you later. Thank you so much for joining us again in Author Talk. And of course, for anyone watching the video, if you've enjoyed what you watched so far, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and of course, comment your thoughts down below in the comments. But until next time, I've been James. This has been Ray, and we'll see you next time.